Hello, and welcome to the Astro Energy Astrology Show podcast with Astrologer Shelley Overton. Hi, and how are you this week? My name is Shelley Overton, and you are watching and listening to the Astro Energy Astrology podcast. We're talking astrology, and it's a gorgeous day here in Orlando where I live, and I think it's going to be like 83. So this is really significant, wonderful time. Very unusual, actually. We're going to go over what's going on this week, and we're going to talk, because it's in the news, about Johnny Depp and what he's doing. And we'll find out a little bit more by looking at his chart. So let's see. I started the podcast without my mic, and I just put it on. So hopefully the sound won't be too bad before we continue. Okay, yeah, let's go back. I've already moved my ephemeris and, well, my planner to next week, but I'm going to come back to today. Today is Friday, April 22nd. Happy Earth Day. Yay. Yay, Earth. We're going to put an Earth over here. It's over there. Anyway, we have today, the moon is in Capricorn. It's in Capricorn until Saturday the 23rd, and then it passes into Aquarius and early 2:17 a.m. Eastern, 11:17 p.m. Pacific, which is tonight. And so today looks really lovely, actually. We have moon in Capricorn sextiling Venus, trining Mercury, sextiling Neptune, sextiling Jupiter, and a conjunction to Pluto, which probably isn't the happiest. And then it goes into Aquarius. So I think it's a very lovely Earth Day, especially with a Capricorn moon. And that means it's an Earth sign. And so we're aware of the physicality of things, of the tangibility of things, and the depth with which they are rooted into our lives. And I'm just going to show you something that I've been doing lately. That's actually right behind me. Don't know if you'll be able to see it. We'll give it a shot. It's pretty big. As you know, I'm an artist, and I've been kind of driveway diving, and I found this amazing little end table, and it was pretty ugly before I got a hold of it. There was some gold paint on it, and I left some of it, but I decided to paint it, and I'm not really sure you're going to be able to see this, but there, let me see if I can get it in the camera. This is the top of it. You can't really see it much, but there you go. And then I painted the base. So I'm working on that, and it's a lotus flower. So that's significant to Buddhists and Buddhism. It is the image and icon of Buddhism. And as you know, I'm a Buddhist, so I decided to do that. And I'm working on that today for Earth Day. And so I'm recycling a piece of furniture and adding a bit of nature. Very excited to do that. Actually, as long as I'm doing this, I'm going to show you the illustration of the top. I did. I see it. There it is. Just put my face near it. There you go. But that's on top, and I'm going to watercolor that as well. So in the process of doing a lot of lovely art, always excited to do art, and much more so right now. If you're an artist, this is a really good day for art, because all the Pisces planets are encouraging us to be creative and get out there and do things. I know my daughter's boyfriend does photography as a hobby, and he actually is doing a professional job today. He's getting paid for it, taking portraits and photos of his friend. So photography is a Piscean pursuit, and with the Capricorn energy, what we do today can really have some legs. It's going to be lasting. And so if you're interested in doing something special with the art and creative aspects, and today is a good day for it to go far. And then tomorrow with Aquarius is all about mind expansion, awareness, vision. And I find it interesting. I've mentioned this a few times throughout my podcast, but I know a couple of people. One's a client, one is my son, and actually I had an uncle who also had strong Aquarius in his chart, and it rules vision. It's how you see things. So it is also visionary. And we see this in people like Elon Musk, and probably Tesla had a ton of Aquarius in his chart. I know Lincoln was an Aquarian. I believe George Washington was. His birthday, I think, was February, which also makes him very visionary. And so if you look throughout history of the people who really stick out as eccentric or visionary or genius even, they're influenced strongly by Aquarius. So as we move into Aquarius energy here over the weekend, we see that lively eccentricity coming in, but we also see things like interest in math, interest in science, technology. We may see some kind of technological shift over the weekend. And of course, as the ruler of Aquarius is in Taurus, as long as he's in Taurus, we're going to see cryptocurrency being kind of on the agenda. So I was looking at some crypto stocks just yesterday, and some are up and some are down. So it's not real consistent, but that is the nature of Aquarius. Okay. On Saturday, we have a square to the sun with the moon, and we have a square to Uranus. So, of course, like I said, moon square or any planet in Aquarius squaring Uranus is going to cause friction. And really, what we have is the energy of the planet that's triggered, or triggering, I should say, moon, in this case, triggering Uranus in Taurus. So moon is about security and family, and it has the value of seeking out a shell for itself. Remember, Cancer is the crab, and it's the soft middle, sensitive, emotional, moody, broody, and then the harder shell. And I will also add this too, since my son is an Aquarius rising with lots of Aquarius energy, he's actually a Leo. And I do want to hit on that in a minute too. But having Aquarius energy, I always call him a contrarian. And he's funny because he says, well, if I say, no, I'm not, then you'll say there's the proof. So how do you negate, how do you fight the idea that someone's a contrarian? And I just found it really funny. So, and he does have a really good whimsical sense of humor. He's got a really quirky sense of humor that just kind of catches you by surprise. Surprises are an Aquarian thing. They will always keep you on your toes because the nature of Aquarius is like Mercury. Uranus, the ruling planet, is a higher octave or a louder version of Mercury. So whatever Mercury does, which is, not real stable and kind of goes here and goes there, Uranus is like that, on steroids. So even though there is this intense energy coming in, it can really be utilized for thinking. We do really well when we ponder and when we speculate and when we imagine with Aquarian energy. That being said, Saturday, the 23rd, should be a really great day to get out and about and explore. It's a great science center day. Go to the science center if you have one in your town, or any kind of exploration that you can do. I live near Cape Canaveral and NASA. So yeah, getting out there, if you're in Central Florida or probably anywhere in Florida, you can make it to NASA and Cape Canaveral. Very mind expanding, and yeah, the planets and stars here behind me, you can see, gives you kind of a new perspective, and that's the energy of Aquarius. So it's going to be an Aquarian weekend. We have Sunday is the moon squaring Uranus at 2:35 a.m. So it's overnight, Pacific and Eastern. We've got sextile to Chiron in Aries. Mercury squares Saturn. Mercury sextiles Neptune. It conjuncts Saturn. The moon in Aquarius conjuncts Saturn, Mercury in Taurus, sextiles Neptune. And moon in Aquarius is square to Mercury. So Sunday will be a day of misunderstandings and probably frustration. I will tell you, interacting with the energy of Aquarius and then Taurus. Taurus wants things very logical, very grounded, and it takes time to process. And the energy of Uranus and Taurus is really kind of shattering the comfort zone for Taurian energy. And then having Mercury there in the sign of Taurus is going to make you maybe a little bit more on edge or more nervous. Your energy will be a little more frenetic. And the beauty of any of these planets, Mercury or Uranus in Taurus, is that Taurus will ground it. And so, yes, we have Mercury, yes, we have Uranus in Taurus, but it can really make you feel like you're getting the electrical energy of those two planets into the earth. And what that means in concept is that we bring it down into the earth and we can create. And so we grow things, we have ideas. Oh, what if I did that? That would be fabulous if I, like, just as a concept, oh, aloe. I really love aloe. I'm going to plant some aloe. So the next time I have a sunburn, I've got something to heal it quickly. And so what you do is you have this idea. Oh, yeah, I really like that. I'm going to do that. Then you plant it, which is Taurian. And then as it grows and you can use it for things, you may even come up with new ideas and new ways of using it, which is Uranus. So that's kind of an example of what to do with this energy. And then Sunday, it's Orthodox Easter. Again, today's Earth Day and Orthodox Good Friday. Tomorrow is Passover ending. Then we have Orthodox Easter on Sunday. And Sunday's going to be a little bit more stressful because there are 3 squares, but the sextile is from Mercury to Neptune, which means that we're going to have physical, tangible proof of something in the spiritual realm, or an idea that we got, or an imagination, or a metaphysical hit on an awareness we have psychically can come into the tangible and will be right there for us to prove it, honestly, because Mercury in Taurus gives us that grounding. Moon in Taurus on Sunday. Let me double check. That's next. That's in a week. My bad. Yeah. So Mercury is in Taurus, but Moon's not in Taurus. That's next Sunday. Okay. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are going to be our Pisces days, which is heightened ability to get ill. Just giving you a heads up. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's when fluids flow readily. Anything that we spray into the air can be picked up readily. It's also oil, flooding, rain. Aquarius is inclement weather through wind and tornadoes, hurricanes, etc. And it can also be like right now, it's a little bit windy here, but let's see what time. We're in Capricorn. Moon enters at 11:17 p.m. Pacific tonight. And then 2:17 a.m. Moon enters Aquarius. We get like a clearing out of a lot of the watery energy, or we get a connectedness of air to earth, which can be tornadoes. And so, yeah, wind is the winds of change when it's associated with Aquarius. And it also is a clarifier, so it dries things out. Not as much rain unless there's another water planet associated, which can bring tremendous storms. So it's great for lightning storms. We had a really big lightning storm here not long ago. And yeah, it's really that kind of energy that we see coming in. Okay, so we're on the 25th Monday. On Monday, we have Moon entering Pisces, and then we have a sextile to the Sun in Taurus and a conjunction to Mars, which means the entering of Pisces is going to be moody. We go from that clear-mindedness, kind of a happy, general optimistic sign of Aquarius, into Pisces, which, the water signs are a little bit moody. So you're going to go into the depths as soon as it enters, and that's Monday. Probably not going to want to go to work, probably going to want to stay in bed, quite honestly, and feel like you want to pull the covers over your head, because it is that energy, pardon me, it is the energy of going to bed and dreaming. Daydreaming would be a good alternative. And, I remember when I was working as a marketing coordinator, I had an enormous window. It ran the length of the building. I was on the 3rd floor with this window right out in front of me, looking at the full front range of the Rocky Mountains. And the beauty was that when the weather came through Colorado and through Denver, you would see it coming 20 miles away or 30 miles away, because it was fairly clear, and it would come over the mountains and you could watch it develop. So you knew if it was a sunny day, and the weather always changed really rapidly in Colorado and Denver, and it's a semi-arid climate. So when the weather came, the wind would blow in over the mountains, and then it would come through that plains area of Denver, and you could just watch it develop and become these enormous clouds filled with snow and blizzards and things like that. And it was very distracting. And I did probably a little bit of daydreaming out that window. So Monday is going to be a day like that, daydreaming and watching storms develop or rain or fog. It's very fog brain kind of day. So I'm going to give you that so you don't expect that you're going to get quite as much done Monday as you think you might. And then the moon sextile the sun in Taurus, really good day for growing things. I think we just had a full moon. The only thing about next week is the moon is waning and it doesn't become full until Saturday the 30th, and it will be in Taurus. So a big day on the 30th, which is a week from Saturday, for planting and growing things. Really good growth in your gardens and harvesting, even your money, around the house, doing things to change it up. Really, really good time for that. Monday the 25th, moon conjunct Mars, and that means that we're going to be agitated. I noticed when Mars went into Pisces last week, hit my Saturn immediately. And yeah, I got irritated, got agitated, was impatient and intolerant. So if you are a person who's influenced by Pisces, you're going to be pretty intolerant with that Mars right on moon energy come Monday. And so, like I said, it's good day to pull your covers over your head. On the 26th, Tuesday, the moon will be sextile Uranus at 7:39 a.m. Eastern and 4:39 a.m. Pacific. And from the time that is over through the time the moon enters Aries is going to be a phenomenal time. It's a last quarter moon, and it's good for arts and anything like entertainment, filmmaking, sensitivity and deep conversations, things like that. So I would mark my calendar for the 26th into the 27th at 12:10 p.m. Eastern, because you're going to have a really juicy time for integrating anything. Wednesday, again, another Pisces moon day, and it's very busy. I put down sensitive, moody, sad, and weepy, because that's what we get from the moon in Pisces. But when the moon's in the last degrees of Pisces, we can see a heightened energy around people passing and transitioning, but also the end of many different things, including property or, wrapping things up, retiring. We are feeling it definitely. Strong time for retirement and ending of things, moving on for a new story coming soon. Let's see. So on the 27th, there's Mercury sextile Jupiter, good for communications and education, test taking. Moon conjunct Neptune, a little bit of dreamy, but it can be either illusions or complete immersion in a creative aspect of things. And then because the moon literally is 5 minutes away from a conjunction with the moon, and moon to Jupiter and moon to Neptune, it's the three together, which is a very strong time for making something of value, but also intuition and immersion, total visceral immersion emotionally in situations. And then sextile of the moon to Mercury on Wednesday at 7:35 a.m. Eastern. And then finally, we wrap that up with the moon sextiling Capricorn Pluto. And that would be, again, a really lovely energy around tangible goods from our dreams coming in on the 27th. I would recommend you find time to do something creative on that day. A really good day. Thursday, Mercury is trying to Pluto and Capricorn. So it is a Mercury Taurus and Taurus Mercury and Capricorn Pluto. And those are really structural rule makers, a little more strict, a little more wanting us to be sincere and tangible goods, especially Pluto is about literal, being sincere and follow up with what you say. And then the moon is in Aries and it is conjunct to Chiron. So that is a masculine energy inflicting a wounding or triggering a wounding. So we're not going to bash the male energy as much this week as in recent weeks, because Aries has been really strong lately and will continue to be so over the course of this year with Jupiter moving into Aries. So right now, the Pisces and Capricorn energy is going to be more feminine oriented, but the Aries Aquarius energy is going to be more masculine. And so as we go through the summer, we'll see more of that masculine energy concentrated in our environments. And then finally, Friday, Pluto goes retrograde. I didn't realize we were this close to the retrograde until just now, well, just before the podcast. And that means that we have been in the shadow of the retrograde, and it's going to be at 28 degrees, 36 minutes. It does not go direct until October. And October, it goes direct at 26:07. It's 26:07, so it's 2 degrees and 30 minutes of time that it retrogrades. And then it goes direct at the end of the year in fall. But of course, we're going to have Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune also retrograde throughout the summer. But this is really the first retrograde. It's the first retrograde since the planets were all direct. And then following hot on its heels on the 9th of May is Mercury. So yeah, we're going to have Pluto and Mercury retrograde, but Mercury goes retrograde in Cancer. No, let me see. Yeah, it gets to Cancer 4 degrees, and then it goes retrograde back into Gemini. So we're just going to talk about Pluto retrograde a little bit. So Pluto is our emotions, it's government, it is lawsuits, it is legalities, it rules law, it rules the government on, a sense of legality and lawyers, taking positions as politicians. So it is politicians and lawyers mostly. When I say government, I mean, that's where it's influenced. Capricorn is much more the actual construction of the government, but because Pluto is in Capricorn, absolutely the government is hugely affected. It also is conjunct to America's natal Pluto. And so that means America and England are going to be feeling it this coming week. Pluto retrograde usually brings significant events such as earthquakes and volcanoes going off. So look for that come the end of the week or maybe even midweek. I mean, we'll probably be feeling it. Those of us who are really sensitive will feel it early on. And I'm saying like probably Monday, Tuesday, we'll start to sense the energy shifts again. And those of us who have strong Scorpio in their charts or Capricorn right now, because Capricorn has Pluto in it. So those signs are going to feel it a little bit more strictly, and those who are sensitive. And so Pluto retrograding means that we are going to go back over the end degrees of Capricorn. As I've said, when we get to the final degrees, it's a very strong push for an understanding of that energy. So as Pluto has been moving forward in the sign of Capricorn, I've been telling everybody for years. I'm telling you, like 6 years, I've been talking about Pluto and Capricorn, and probably even longer than that, because it's been in Capricorn at least that long. It's been in Capricorn since 2007. And so I know I've talked about it even before it went into Capricorn, because I knew we were approaching conjunction to our return, a Pluto return in America. So it was a very significant transit that I started talking about long time ago. And now, as we reach the end degrees, we are getting that highly concentrated Capricornian energy. So hierarchies, paternalism, nationalism, apparently, populism, all of the isms. And we are getting the pushback, especially when it goes retrograde, we'll get pushback from the structure saying, no, I'm not ready to go yet. You have to understand that I have something to say. And that can be like the elderly getting more, I want to say feisty. So the elderly, as Pluto gets to the end degrees, it does rule the elderly. And as it retrogrades, it's like, no, I've still got things to accomplish, and I still have things to say and do, especially do, because Capricorn rules doing, and creating those structures, and they're rooted in this. So probably if you are going to take advantage of having a business with the strong Piscean energy as a creative endeavor, and then Pluto in Capricorn, as long as Pluto's in Capricorn, especially when it goes retrograde, an entity that lives after that moment when they're sextile, when Neptune is sextile to Pluto in Capricorn, you're going to have that long lasting effect. And we're talking decades. So as you get a chart with Pluto retrograde, over the course of a progressed chart, that's going to be retrograde for the life of that entity. So you will have the energy of Capricorn and the rootedness, the long lasting qualities. When it goes direct, you will find that things move forward again. So there is a certain amount of self-awareness and review that we get when Pluto goes direct. It is the ruler of psychology. And so we're going to see psychological issues coming about, especially associated with those in charge and leadership and hierarchy, the government, law, legalities, rules. All of that are going to be reviewed every year until Pluto gets into Aquarius, which starts next year, but doesn't finish yet. Because even though Pluto is in Aquarius next year in 23, it will retrograde, it will get back into Capricorn. So we're still a few years. I think it maybe even does it again in 20. Let me see, what is next year? 23, in 24. And I think 24 might be the last of Pluto in Capricorn for our life cycles, but it's going to be a couple more years. And so over the course of the next 3 summers, we're definitely going to feel this retrograde of Pluto and Capricorn, which means there is that last push to really take charge and have the authority, the hierarchy that we see with Capricorn. And it's the psychology of that. But every time it goes retrograde and then forward again in these last degrees, a little gradient of Aquarius comes in, and there's just a little bit that much more awakening towards the Aquarian energy. And so even though, yes, there are definitive cusps or definitive shifts of energy as a planet goes from 29:59 minutes into 0000 of the next sign, that is a very marked difference between the two energies. The cusp energy does, in my opinion, as an astrologer, have a gradient of energy. And we do start to see, especially now with the Aquarian Saturn, we just had Jupiter in Saturn, or Jupiter in Aquarius not too long ago, but now we've got it moved on in the charts, and it's in Pisces. So it's transiting the last degrees of the zodiac before it goes into Aries this year. And then it begins and initiates another about 14-year cycle. And that's not exact, because depending on the orb, it can go in and out of 12 to 14 years in orb. Okay, Pluto. Oh, and then, I should talk about the solar eclipse. An eclipse is when the moon goes between the earth and the sun, and then the sun is blotted out in the sky. And so what happens is the sun is our ego, the sun is our identity and our sense of selfhood. And so when the moon, the emotions, goes between the earth and the groundedness and the identity ego, we're getting the emotions basically taking over in the sign of Taurus. Taurus is the earth, is the groundedness. So there could be some type of glitch around growing things, around money. Definitely with Pluto retrograde, Pluto rules value to others, a joint value. And so, with Pluto retrograding in Scorpio, or not Scorpio, ruler of Scorpio, and Pluto, which is tangible goods again. And then Taurus, also the retail aspect and the material goods and stocks. We are definitely going to have a wild ride come the end of this week. So just putting it out there, if you're not in for wild rides or, stock markets, potentially, it is value. They could be enormously good. And then as the eclipse hits, or just after the eclipse, it could crash down. That's that moment break of energy between the sun and the earth means that we are looking for that sense of selfhood. So because it is also the energy of Earth, and then next door to Pluto and trine to Pluto energy in Capricorn, the Capricorn Taurus energy is going to be about how we see our world in the physical sense. And then as the energy shifts, we are going to, especially Pluto and new moon, we're going to see kind of a shift of mentality around material goods. So that's the energy for this week. And now I'm going to quickly talk about Johnny Depp. I am Well, I've been a big fan of a lot of his work for many years. He's in my generation. He was born June 9th, 1963, Owensboro, Kentucky, and he was born at 8:44 a.m., which gives him a Leo rising, a 12-degree Leo rising. And so he has the sun as part of his selfhood. And of course, right now, he is going through a Mercury return. Mercury in his chart is at 25 Taurus, and the Mercury in the sky is at 21. So that, and it's in his house of career, and it just went past his midheaven. And so that means that we've got the energy really triggering his need to be heard, and pardon the pun, but there's probably also a psychic or a channeled reason being heard, and his ex is Amber Heard. There's a reason. And Mercury's on Venus. Venus is women. So he's got that Mercury on top of his Venus natally, with Uranus and Mercury triggering it. So I will say this, Uranus, while I don't often talk about it, Mercury and Uranus together are intellectual, they're analytical, and normally it's, especially Uranus, is like the nerd energy, the eccentric, intelligent genius kind of person. But Uranus also will have a strong energy of sex and the power through sex in its negative energy. They can use sex as a manipulator. So having Uranus up there, interestingly, in Taurus, it wants to be independent, it wants to be free, but it also brings in the energy of instability and then sex as well. So if you combine, he's got a North Node in Taurus right now transiting. I think the North Node is pretty close. Yeah, North Node's at 24, which is right on his Mercury Venus conjunction. So he's reaching for an expanded awareness and expanded understanding. And then Mercury transit is bringing in kind of a necessity to be heard. And then Uranus in that house, it kind of is a power play in some sense. And then, of course, Venus is ruled by Taurus. So interestingly, the whole thing is very feminine energy, trying to be heard in a relationship situation. And then it's in the public eye. He's also got a transit of the sun in Aries, about to go into Taurus, or may have gone into Taurus today. Let me see where the sun is. Yeah, it just went into Taurus. It's at 2 degrees. So I don't know why this chart shows the moon or the sun. The sun in this chart, if you look at it, looks like it's in Aries, but it is actually 2 degrees of Taurus. The sun should be over here. So maybe it just wasn't able to put the sun over there. Yeah, there's a little green mark. You can see it by the word and the letters MC. There's a little green mark on it, and that's where the sun actually is. But I think because of the writing of the code for this particular program, they couldn't fit the sun right on top of that area. So they had to shove it over into the other part, but it actually is in Taurus. And so you can tell by that green hash mark. And then, so the sun is ego. And now that we are going to have the moon interrupt the energy between the earth and the sun next week, that's probably going to be a significant answer for him in this particular event. Looking around to his house of work, he has Pluto transiting right in the middle of his house of work. Of course, he's an actor, and Pluto is major life changes. It's the psychology of what you do. In Capricorn, it is him being part of the hierarchy as it has transited through that area of the chart. But when it goes into Aquarius, there's going to be a detachment. And not only, so we can interpret that to be, Aquarius energy is community. He very well could hold a like persona non grata, and people shun him after this particular event. And while he thought it was going to be to his benefit, late degree Mercury trining Pluto, I've said it time and time again, that trine is not a beneficial thing, in my opinion. It's supposed to be positive, but I think more and more it's just showing us where we have a weakness and a lack that needs to be addressed. So Pluto in his house of work trining his midheaven and career and the planets transiting there are going to be a really hard lesson for him. And he's going to shift. And I think, because he has Aquarius, which is also a type of broadcasting, internet, mass media, could very well find a place online for what he has to say and who he is. It's an eccentric energy. So, of course, alternatives and eccentricities. So, that type of, and Pluto is also the underworld. So, what that tells me as Pluto goes along is we can see even more deviant behavior being promoted through the internet. And that's an aside from him. I don't know about his deviance. I tried to watch a bit of the video on the trial, and I found that I have not liked him and the dynamic of him and Amber Heard for years. And, they always seem to be in fights, in drama, and at odds. And now it just continues. And I just find it to be really off-putting. And the negativity coming out of his life, I watched it yesterday. He looked to me like a younger version of Marlon Brando in Godfather. It was just like, what are you wearing? He had a black suit with the tie and his hair slicked back. He totally looked like a mafioso to me, but I digress. Anyway, he has been in his past life, earlier, younger life, a very handsome man, but I think he's definitely lost his way on multiple levels. And he's in a Saturn return. And the Saturn is right, almost exact. Actually, he's got 23 degree 4 minute Saturn in Aquarius, 23 degree 46 minute Saturn currently, which means he is at the very ground zero of his Saturn return. And it's in his marriage house. So the Aquarian energy, he is being taken to task for the behavior around his marriage. And I find it really interesting. He's got Pisces in the 8th house, which is addictions. And so definitely this marriage was a type of addiction. And then he's got, well, Neptune transit, I should say, but Neptune ruling it. His ruling planet of the house of commitment in the marriage is right there near Jupiter. So it's really forcing him to take a look at that addiction. He's got Venus and Mars transiting his 8th house, which again is legalities. So look at him now in the public eye, Uranus, Sun across the midheaven, and then all these planets in his house of marriage. That's the issue, the theme of what he's going through. And there's an opposition of his Uranus-Mars conjunction at early degrees of Virgo to Mars opposition in Pisces in the house of lawyers and law, legalities, commitment to marriage. He's definitely got the strongest energy in his chart right now, transiting his work, his career, and legalities. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Jupiter in Aries is definitely going to bring out some masculine energy and the opportunity to travel for him. So there's I would even say, with all this Piscean energy, he's probably going to get a job in a movie, and he's going to have to go somewhere to do that movie, and he's going to have that hypermasculinity associated. And the eccentricity of his role in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, I find that really interesting given his Saturn in Aquarius. He thrives on creating characters that are odd or different somehow, kind of like Nicolas Cage does, although I haven't looked at Nicolas Cage's chart. So anyway, yeah, and his Neptune natally is in Scorpio. His Scorpio Neptune is at 13 degrees of Scorpio, and in conjunct to Jupiter in his chart as well. So the Jupiter Neptune, interestingly, in negative aspect natally, joined together in his house of law in his chart currently. So, it's all written in the stars right there. So that's all I have for him. And I want to thank you and he's a Gemini. I guess that's the last thing. He's a Gemini, and the Gemini's in his community area. And so that makes him really kind of bankable as a product of marketing and broadcasting, anything where he gets his voice out. So Sun in Aries and then going into Taurus, I don't know that that's to his benefit right now. actually, the stuff that came out of his chart, or came out of his mouth actually, and recorded during this whole thing, was really to his detriment. It came out, he admitted he did drugs with Marilyn Manson. There are recordings of him basically in cahoots, or talking about if he were to murder Amber Heard. And I'm just like, wow, really? You're really opening yourself up to letting this stuff out, which is amazing. But there it is, it's coming out. And Jupiter going into Aries, a lot of stuff's going to be coming out, a lot of stuff. And we'll talk about that in another soon podcast, because it happens in May. So it'll be one of the next couple of weeks. We'll talk about that. All right. That's it for the week. I want to thank you so much for showing up and humoring me in my digressions. And please do like, comment, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, subscription, like, and subscribe helps the algorithm to get it out there, and other people can see it and be helped by what I'm telling them. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a comment and let me know if there's somebody you want me to do a podcast about their chart, because I'm really starting to do more chart analysis. I missed it because I don't take callers anymore, and I really would like to do more people in the spotlight or situations. So if you have a suggestion for that, please do leave me comments, and I'll try and put it on an agenda and a schedule for future shows. All right, that's all. Take care. Love you. Take care. Every time Moon enters Mercury, or Moon enters Mercury, duh, that isn't a thing.
Hey, this is Shelley. I wanted to give you a heads up that there are a lot of new art prints at shelleyoverton.com. So go over there and check them out. SHELLEYOVERTON.com. Thanks.
Hi, this is Shelley. Thank you for joining us this week. To contact me for a private reading, go to angeliczodiac.com under the Readings tab. Background music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. To purchase my ebook, Learn Astrology, you can find it at angeliczodiac.com, including discounts. Be sure to check back next week and subscribe through iTunes at Astro Energy Astrology Show.